Hi everybody, it's Joe Woodruff from the UK. Welcome to my Week 5 music production assignment, demonstrate the configuration of an EQ plugin to function like a large format mixing console. Okay, the DAW I'm using is the Sonar X2, and this is my Sonitus FX equalizer, which is the default plugin for the software. Basically what I want to do is set up each of these bands so that it mimics a equalizer from a mixing console. And I'm going to have five different filters: a high pass filter, a low shelving filter, two mid-range parametric EQs, and a high shelving filter. So first up, the high pass filter. Remember that a high pass filter cuts out the low end, so it's particularly useful for removing low end noise, rumbles, passing subsonic elephant calls, and so on. If we go to band 1, we just select the filter we want, which is the high pass, and then we can select the threshold frequency just by clicking on that box and moving it up or down. If it's a guitar, you might want to set it around 90 Hertz, and with the Q we can select how broad or narrow this curve is going to be. The lower the Q, the broader the curve. The higher, the narrower it is. Okay, and that's going to cut out, you can see here that it's cut out the low end frequencies from that signal. Okay, next up we have the low shelving filter. Now the low shelving filter isn't so drastic as a pass filter. Once it attenuates the frequency, or once it adjusts the frequency, it's going to level off to a shelf. And this is ideal for boosting often the low end of, say, a guitar signal or a keyboard signal to give it a warmer sound. So again, on band 2, select the filter, shelving low. Again, we can adjust the default frequency. This is coming in at 60 Hertz. Let's raise it to 90. Then I have two options. The gain is how much it's going to gain or be reduced by, and that's measured in decibels per octave. And the Q again is simply how steep or narrow that curve is. Okay, next up we have a couple of mid-range parametric EQs, a low mid and a high mid. What we want to select here is the peak dip option, and it's going to give you a bell-shaped curve. So if I've got my default setting around 200 Hertz, if I raise that, you can see a bell-shaped curve appears, or I can reduce that. Remember, for the mid-range, we often use it to attenuate resonances which are standing out on your track, rather than boost signals. And again, with the Q, I can adjust how steep or broad that curve is. And I'll add another mid-range EQ a little higher up. This is at 800 Hertz. And we'll pull that down, and I'll just raise the Q. So you can see, or I could have it up like that if you wanted. Okay, last of all is the high shelving filter. And this is going to boost the high end of a signal, or attenuate it if you like. Remember that the ear is most sensitive to frequencies around 3,000 to 4,000 Hertz. So if we boost the high end, it's going to add presence to a track. It's going to make it sound more bright. So make sure we have selected high shelving filter, shelving high. The default setting is 4,500 Hertz. We can simply raise that by dragging the slider a few decibels. It doesn't need too much, and we can adjust the curvature on that using the Q. Okay, so there I have 5 filters which are mimicking my mixing console. If I want to save these, I go up to Presets, Add Preset, type in the name, and Add. And that means I don't have to reconfigure this every time I log in. I simply go to Presets, and there's my preset which has been added to the equalizer. Okay, thanks for your time. I very much enjoyed studying this topic. I found this whole session on mixing and compression and equalization has really changed how I hear audio tracks. You know, I can hear a bass now which has been compressed, and it's really interesting. I never noticed these sort of sounds before, focusing on mixing and width and everything. So it's really changed how I hear music, and I hope you've gotten a lot out of it too. I look forward to seeing you next week. All the best for now.